of many. The last on you saw who came from a penny. The last one to kill the game with a hit. The first one to spray the mic when I'm ready. If it
Welcome to the Blank Canvas Project, a project by Plinko Solutions. My name is Jonathan McLemore. I'm a solutions consultant based out of Toronto, Ontario. This project is a really exciting one. It's essentially where I do the 80-20 of daily logs, taking you through some novel material, originally written, curated specifically to add to the space in a way that is not only just academic, but is market proven and market ready. So a large part of what I do is I set a 50-minute timer, right? And leaning into AI and automation, I pretty much have 80% of the production value already ready. I've got tons of original, like I mentioned, notebooks on notebooks, where essentially the start of my day, before I get hit with any work, is I set a 10-minute timer, collect basically what I'm going to talk about for the day, and choose one of core 5 pillars, which I'll share in a bit, and spend the next 10-20 minutes pretty much adding onto that, increasing, the not even just awareness, but the know-how for how to kind of operate in the space and how not just to operate, but how to be an owner and operator. So without further ado, let's dive into this for today. So this here is a hot mess. This is essentially what ChatGPT generated for me when I started to break down content pillars. Now, I don't really like it, to be honest with you. So what I'm going to do, we're just going to make a new one right here live. And a lot of thought has already kind of gone into this, so I'm not going to be sitting here doing the ums and ahs. But okay, so let's dive into it. I pretty much broke it down into these 5 core pillars. So the biggest focus behind AI and automation is the power to grow businesses through efficiencies. Those efficiencies exist mainly within operations, right? So decision fatigue, manual data entry, communication lag, all that fun stuff. That's a whole thing I can spend 10 to 20 minutes, again, daily, kind of talking about. And the idea is to kind of section these off, right? The other bucket is systems, actual demos, lifetime projects, things that actually help me day to day send out more demos, increase my lead generation, help me on the sales side, right? Because I'm a one-man ship, and that help businesses real time, paid projects, and showcasing that, right? Reason being is accessibility. I really believe on the market there's a huge demand for it, and bridging it in a way that's understandable and not flooded with verbiage and, JSON this, CSS that, which of course I'll touch on. But my aim is to really demystify and simplify that right, pretty much what it is. And part of that process too is also leaning on what already exists out there. So a lot of communities, a lot of threads, a lot of geniuses, hardworking talent in the space that I've had the pleasure of meeting and working with, doing well. And I would love to kind of dissect that, and also dissect the case studies online of people actually making money, actually helping people with AI. And that's pretty much where that's going to come to life. The next one, which I'm not super amped about personally, but I will touch upon it, pretty much material of the times. So for example, OpenAI came out with ChatGPT agent yesterday. So I'm sure this will age like fine wine. But, speaking about those things and back to that demystification point, it's important to kind of stay with the times as much as I would love to lean on my, I want to say half a decade of written stuff around how to use thinking models and design thinking and sales and all that jazz. It's still an AI space and it's ever growing and there's new stuff constantly. So having a pulse on that's important. And then this 5th one, which I know performs less, but for the sake of depth and showcasing how this kind of all goes, every now and then, I'm not going to say consistently, but every now and then, I'll start talking about myself. This one's a bit of an interesting one because I, for years, kind of shied away from it. I've been meaning to start a YouTube thing since 2019. like I actively like started the thing. I got the mic, this boom mic is like old. So getting out of my way, I think, is the key point. And today, for the next 20 minutes, I'm going to be really drawing on who am I in this space and what am I doing. So first and foremost, hi, my name is Jonathan McLemore. I have been building with AI since it's come out, been obsessed with it. I eat, sleep, drink this. If you talk to me in any shape or form, I probably would have mentioned this stuff. Before this, I was working in sales management as well, like running my own team, training them, bringing them up. And I also worked in technical recruitment. That was my kind of career path after I graduated. Even while I was in school, I studied English and business communications at Ryerson, TMU. The Rams. That's pretty much where I kind of come from. My actual like bread and cloth is like, I'm mixed West Indies, Guyanese, pretty much culturally, and my dad's side's American, which is why, I'll switch to the main camera for this part. There we go. I don't look it, but pumpkin curry, chicken curry, not curry chicken, is pretty much where I thrive. That being said, a large part of this project isn't really about me. I know it comes through the access, if you will. Axis, I think that's the right word. AXIS. Proxy, you'd call it, of how well I can I don't want to say get over. It's not the right verbiage. How well I can be a vehicle towards what is useful and speaking towards that. So when I put a camera on, I put a mic to my face, I'm very much like as intentional can be. I pick it apart, which is why this hasn't seen the airtime that it has. I would record material, hours worth, and tear it apart and shoot it down, and truly be in my own way of giving this surface area that it needs. And then when I do live workshops and I actually talk to people and I share these things, they're like, oh my God, you got to record this. So this is me shutting up and doing it. So that's me. Now, back to the actual brand and like the whole project here. So last year, 2024, I was laid off 4 times and I broke my leg, my tibia and fibula, in a city bike incident at the end of November of 2024. Now, when that happened, I took as long as I can look at myself. And I'm like, I need to figure out what I'm going to do, because I was working a seasonal job at the time. So money wasn't coming in from anywhere. I don't come from a family that, has a crazy amount. First generation, my mom literally drove over the border to come in here and, just built a life. She worked 2 full-time jobs and put food on the table. And, we're out here now. We're here building. So that's my kind of like genetic kind of tree with it. I've basically taken that discipline and hard work. I've been working since I was 16. Really, I think 15 actually. Yeah, 15 summer. If that counts as work. Anyways, but like the point being is like I've been focused on how can I create assets and how can I build business that actually affect revenue. And I've been obsessed with that, so obsessed with that. Before I can even charge anybody any pennies, I spent endless hours building other businesses, building other teams, building other groups, and other initiatives, all that. And it's great, a lot of learning, but I'm 25 now. Prefrontal cortex is developed. Is like, oh shoot, I need to actually build a ship. So when I broke my leg, I registered a sole proprietorship because it's been obsessed with AI for since it came out. I was like, what do I know more than anybody? What do I know, at least in my immediate space? I know there's geniuses out there that know much more than me. But what do I know that I can speak and bridge on? And that's this. That's those content pillars. This is where I'm at. And I'm really excited to do a good job, at least the best I can, on delivering it in a way that's engaging and brings you along for the journey. So with that being said, definitely let me know in the comments. Reach out. Now, I sound like a YouTuber now. Let me know. Post, subscribe, all that jazz. Let's talk. let's talk. I'm in the space right now to really build something meaningful. For the last 7.5 months, since I've registered my sole proprietorship, I've gracefully worked, I want to say just recently crossed the triple digits on paid projects, um, which has been great. I'm really excited about that. I would never assume, I mean, you asked me a year ago that I would be running one man, a profitable startup business, meaning I've made more than I put in. Bills are being paid. Like, it's not a lot. It's not crazy. Like MRR right now is still like 3 to 4K a month. For the last trailing 3 months. Right before that was just like there's a 5K project here, and then I don't see any pay for 3 weeks, and then like so that's one of the recurring patterns you'll see here. I get compensated through projects and through volume. As an independent contractor, I guess you'd call it, sole proprietor, whatever you want to say. I don't get a salary. I pretty much build with speed. I am an integration guy. I'm very much like, how can I over deliver so much so that you would like to continue working with me, and then I can do something like 29 projects for you in a month, like I did with the sales director. Um, Things like that. That's what I'm here to do. So, all that being said, let's take you into the business model. So, the business model is an interesting piece because I spent a lot of time kind of looking at productization and how to essentially approach the market and have something that marginally, time commitment wise, makes sense. So, what that's landed me on are these kind of funnels. So, one, you can replace build with done if you'd like. So, build with you, done with you, or done for you, that kind of stuff. I've had mostly a done for you kind of funnel happening where it's funny. I'll respond to jobs where someone wants like AI coaching or AI, teaching, and that's a build with you situation. But what happens after you kind of explain things? They're like, sounds like a lot. um, can you like? How do we navigate this? And that's where I kind of table that offer. I have had good like paid workshops where I'm just like teaching people how to train their own AI agents and how to actually build their own automations and fitness programs, for example, like how to build a nutrition plan that generates every week and gives you a meal plan and things like that. Storage management, right? Like even this whole YouTube setup that I have now is very fresh. Like being able to move, gigabytes worth of data for free, or at least near free, because you still got to pay for the endpoint, right? So I moved like 90 gigs worth of storage to Google Drive like a few days ago. That's normally is like a $250 or something like that operation. Did it self-hosted end-to-end. Anyway, jumping around a lot. The business model, what it's about, is essentially making the arbitrage on the amount of time it takes to get a task done. So by doing a well detailed audit, which I'll dive into in a future episode, we're able to kind of identify where the time sink is, where the cost of labor is, and then look for tasks by doing these stakeholder interviews, talking to people, as well as also applying my catalog of systems, which I'm excited to share. And just seeing what fits, right? Like seeing if, like, for example, if someone's preparing proposals and pitch decks all day, how to have something that automatically does the 80/20 on that so they can output more, right? Giving them that volume advantage. That's what I'm here to do. So I'll be harping on this a lot more going forward. Like I mentioned, today was just a quick little, draw on my personal narrative, the brand story. My real aim, and I'll end on this, is I'll go to the full camera. There is a lot of overwhelmed, hardworking, talented geniuses out there. And those are my people. Those are the ones that I would love to support the most. So if you find yourself in this ocean of overwhelm, reach out, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. That's what this project is for. Those are the guys I'm talking to. Those are the ones I really want to help. And my hope, my aspiration in showcasing all of this is that you feel even just a little bit more empowered to create relentlessly. That being said, I'll see you guys tomorrow.